Look at that fucking bouffant. That's a good look, isn't it? Whoa, that's going back up. Today, I want to talk to you about posture. More specifically, about the disadvantages of standing in a hunched position when in a sword fight. You see, me and my friend Shad have been having a friendly debate over this issue, and I wanted to make sure people understood my views and the reason that I have them. First off, I want to clarify that Shad and I are friends and occasional lovers. This disagreement did not and will not be getting mean. It's just a difference of opinion regarding a hobby that we both have. So, I figured I'd first attempt to clarify Shad's position on the matter. Shad believes that arching forward in a slightly hunched position is beneficial because it makes him able to move faster, it's more effective for conserving energy, and because up till now hunching forward while sparring has served him well. Now, I have a few arguments against these points. In particular, the view that you should do something because it's easier or less tiring. A lot of things when you first learn them require that adjustment phase. And perhaps the reason it's currently easier is because you haven't trained enough to hold that structure for longer periods of time. Someone once said to me, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And what that means is that just because something's hard doesn't mean it isn't the right thing to do. You should always strive to be better, and being better at something often means being uncomfortable at first. In short, just because something is more of a challenge doesn't mean it isn't the right thing to do. When I started out, I hunched a lot, particularly because I found it was easier once I got tired. Then I got beat. Beat real bad. I went up to train in Glasgow with Keith Farrell, and all he had to do was maintain his structure, and my flimsy moves just couldn't break through. He barely had to move. So, obviously I knew there was something wrong with my technique. And Keith spent a ton of time helping me understand and properly implement structure. Shad also believes that putting his weight over his front leg allows him to move quicker. Honestly, I don't really know enough about the mechanics of the human body to agree or disagree with this opinion. What I will say is that if maintaining a hunched posture diminishes the effectiveness of everything else you do, then you're still likely doomed to lose with or without that extra speed. Plus, getting your weight over your front or back leg can easily be achieved by leaning. Leaning can achieve everything hunching can, only it maintains core stability. I was taught that every rule is a rule until a rule is worth breaking. Not by my parents. That would be a really weird thing for my parents to tell me. If hunching in a fight wins you the day against an armed opponent who wants to kill you, then do it. I am not saying that in all conditions it would be 100% ineffective. What I am saying is there are some good reasons why it is generally considered better to avoid hunching your back. I myself firmly believe in the effectiveness of structure, of having a straight back and engaging your larger core muscles, not relying on the strength of your smaller arm or shoulder muscles to make or defend yourself from blows. But at the end of the day, I am only an amateur. I've no real tangible credentials to speak of. That's why I decided to reach out to some well-experienced individuals to ask their opinion on this matter. I also asked their permission to share those opinions with you in this video. Keith Farrell said, my answer is that hunching is always bad. There's no other way to put it. Hunching over collapses structure and weakens all actions and brings not a single measurable benefit that could not be better achieved from fencing properly. In 100% of my sparring matches and tournament fights, if I allow myself to hunch over, I lose, and that is that. I have never won a sparring match or placed anywhere meaningful in the tournament when I perform in a hunched, collapsed, weakened fashion. Nick from the Academy of Historical Fencing said, as a rule, the shoulders should be upright or pulled back, even in the extreme leaning postures of Maya. Axel Pettersson said, there is no value in arching the back. Keep it straight. Bending forward and backwards, putting your weight on the front or back foot is described in the sources and works well for a lot of stuff. Jake Norwood said, hunching your back is bad for all kinds of reasons. It's poor for balance, it puts the head forward, exposing it above other targets, it limits your ability to generate rotational power with the hips, and in hundreds of drawings from period, we never see a longsword fencer hunch. Anton Kohotovich says, I always prefer an upright position. It enables you much more options in further motion. I tend to keep more weight on the front foot, not 50-50 like in sports fencing, and it's because in longsword you can use both legs when stepping forward. More weight on the front foot helps you to be faster in motion back and also forwards. I, for one, wouldn't want to ignore the experience of the more accomplished members of our community. Why would I do that when they've already done the groundwork for me? And they almost all seem to agree on this principle. Why would I go backwards when I could just go forwards? Of course, after I'm well versed with the proper structure, I can always go back and adapt it or try my own experimentation, but I would rather properly understand their posture before I do that. Till then, you cannot prove to yourself that a technique you cannot do surpasses the one you're already using. You're denying yourself these discoveries by resting at the first hurdle. I also want to say to people that just because a YouTuber doesn't mention the source of their information doesn't mean that you can't do some research for yourself. Or you could just go to the people with clear credentials and ask their opinion on the matter. Most people are more than happy to help others get on the right track to learning something valuable. So don't trust people like me just because I have a YouTube channel and a camera. Before you believe something I or any other YouTuber has to say on a matter, go do some research for yourselves. Because there's a lot of people out there willing to tell you what they think without telling you why they think it. On this channel, I try to talk in broad terms to avoid the spread of misinformation. I talk about things that are obviously bad, like spinning or telegraphing. I do this because I believe it's my responsibility to not aid the spread of nonsense. And if I do make bold claims, I will always cite my source. So you can decide for yourself whether the source of the information is something you want to agree with or not. Should you 100% agree with me on this? Hell no! Should you 100% agree with Shad on this? Hell no! Should you 100% agree with the people who I got quotes from? No! You need to investigate for yourselves and come to terms with what it is you want. Me, I'm always more inclined to believe someone who's won tournaments, or someone whose fighting style, in my opinion, looks more cool or more efficient. They're the sources I choose to listen to. Right or wrong, that's the advice I favour. There will always be someone with a differing opinion, so the decision of who you want to listen to is ultimately yours. Peace out. Oh, and Shad, I'll see you later for some of that sweet, sweet loving. What do you guys think of my new hat? I got a hat. I look like a cowboy. What do you think? Do you like it? Does it look good? Looks good, right? Cowboy.